Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Elmo. It's good to have you along. Today I'm taking a look at what I think is the single most important thing that lead guitar players need to know. That's bends and vibrato. And I'm also going to talk about why I think that's the most important thing. Well, that's two things, but they're very closely related. So I'll be right back after this intro. Okay, so today's guitar solo lesson is about bends and vibrato. Now, there are tons of flashy, great techniques that you can learn, master on the guitar that will be very impressive, like, let's say, tapping. Or sweep picking. And a whole host of others, and they're really impressive and they will get you tons of women. No, they won't. What I think is the most important thing is bends and vibrato, because all of that technical, flashy stuff doesn't really matter if your bends and vibrato are all over the place. Why is that? Well, basically, there are a few reasons for this. First off, bends are a good way to pass from one note to another without just going. Doing this is much more musical, it's much more, you can create much more feeling that way and so on. It's a phrasing thing, because you don't have to go, you can go, and you can add vibrato to that at the end. And do all kinds of stuff. It makes fast playing seem almost irrelevant, and slow playing you can't live without bends and vibrato. And even the great shredders like Yngwie Malmsteen, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, all those guys, they have great bends and vibrato. And another reason is, for instance, vibrato. If your guitar is slightly out of tune, and very few guitars are entirely in tune, you'd have to have special true temperament frets or something like that. Vibrato helps kind of mask the fact that it's out of tune a bit, and it makes everything a lot more pleasant. Now, vibrato is just rocking the hand back and forth. Very similar to bending, which is kind of rocking just once in one direction. The techniques can be a bit difficult, but the key is that you don't want to use your fingers, you want to use your wrist, kind of like it's a hinge on a door. So, but I go into this in more detail in my Guitar Academy. You can check that out, the link's below, and it's free, at the moment at least. It might become not free in the future, but for the moment it's free, so you can check that out. Now, on guitar, we have, well, a few things that separates us from piano players, but bends and vibrato are surely one of the biggest things, because a piano player can just play notes like this, and they have to rely on other things to create intensity, to create a mood, to create feeling, and so on. And we can use those same things. It's dynamics, it's rhythm, all that kind of stuff. But one thing that we have that they don't have is bending notes and using vibrato. And that's really, for me, the essence of any guitar player's sound, where the guitar player kind of resides, is in the bends and in the vibrato. There are a ton of people who can play fast, but the really, really top ones, they have great identifiable bends and vibrato. So let's say, for instance, I just do this. That's a fairly standard type of bend, but if I use my whammy bar, which you can also use, like this. That's a totally different type of sound and is instantly something more along the lines of Steve Vai. Or you could do, which is more of a Jeff Beck type thing. Now bends are not just left hand stuff, they can also be with the whammy bar. But still, even just bends on a hardtail guitar, that's the kind of the essence of lead guitar playing, at least as far as rock, blues, metal and all that stuff goes. Yeah, so that's where your voice is, your style of playing. That's the biggest one. That's not to say that it doesn't reside in your phrasing, your rhythmic stuff, your dynamics and all that kind of stuff, and even your guitar tone. But for me, that's the biggest one. And you can play a flashy, fast line like this, and you end with a bit of vibrato for added dramatic effect. Or you bend up from that last note, which is a great effect, and it captures the listener in a way that I find that you can't do without bends and vibrato. Now, like I said, it can be a tricky business mastering those. I have had students that have had trouble with this, and usually I find for some odd reason they have trouble with one or the other. But just stick with it, it will come. And there are loads of resources online where you can learn this stuff. Like I said, My Guitar Academy is one place, but you can just check out YouTube as well if you want. And now, the key element here is you have to learn to use your ears when you do this. Not like that, but you have to learn to listen, because there are no frets to help you. It's kind of like playing the violin. So practicing that stuff will also improve your relative pitch, which is your ability to distinguish between different notes and semitones and all that kind of stuff. So it's a good thing to practice, not just from a technical point of view, but also improving your ears. And now just imagine something like Parisian Walkways by Gary Moore. And so on, without bends and vibrato. It would just be. Not nearly as good. And the amounts of vibrato that you add is a personal taste thing. And it will vary from song to song, from style to style with everyone. But that is that's what sets a really good guitar player apart from a good guitar player or an intermediate guitar player. Bends and vibrato, because that's the most important thing in my view. Now, like I said, you can find more of this stuff on My Guitar Academy, and the link is below. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please press like and comment. Let me know what you think is the most important thing, or if you agree with me. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already, and feel free to support me on Patreon, because that helps me make more of these videos. I'll end by playing a bit for you using mostly bends and vibrato, different types, and I hope you enjoy that, and take care, and see you in another video. Bye!